Good morning. It's Sunday morning and it is time to do some figure drawing. I'm gonna start drawing here in a moment once the video starts. I'm using the Croquis Cafe. It's on Vimeo. It's a simulated figure drawing session. They do timed poses, and we're just gonna kind of walk through that to get warmed up this morning. So I would start with the head and just kind of work my way down. And this is a 1-minute pose. Working on my stick figure. I'm gonna just work my way down the body. And the reason why I practice the stick figure kind of laying method is to help me just get used to building the body in the simplest form I can to be a stick figure, because anybody can draw a stick figure. Alright, and that was it for that pose. Here's the next one. Again, starting with the head. And this would be a back pose, but even though it's a back pose, it's still kind of the same thing. Using the same shapes, just it's a little bit different how I treat the spine. Here, foot, he's sort of leaning over against the wall. Let's get the stick figure in, then I'll just kind of put in the larger masses and like tube forms. Okay, so it looks like I'm making the torso really long, so I wanna try to be aware of that on the next one. See if I can correct that. So again, start with the head, moving to like a kind of U or half like elliptical shape for the torso. Just sticks for the arms. Just get his arm stretched out here, and his hips are kind of turned, so it's still going to be like kind of like a circle. Let's see if I can make his legs a little bit more proportional to his body. That looks a little better. It's always better to err on the side of longer legs, especially when you're trying to draw more heroic proportions on your figure. Okay, the head, across the shoulder in, just pushing up against a wall. Get that kind of U shape in for the rib cage, torso. Now he's a little bit straighter, so I'm gonna actually do that. So I'm gonna do a straight and then like a curved line for the barrel of his chest, and the hips. Again, trying to think a little bit longer on for the legs. There. And sneaking this other arm over here. Feels a little better. And then we're going to squeeze in one more pose. Right here. So another back pose. Got the head. But the shoulders now. Come down into where the tailbone is. Okay. I draw on that U shape for the chest. And his arms are just kind of like stretched out like that. It's a little bigger. His legs, he's got them kind of crossed. Again, I'm trying to err on the side of being a little bit longer. And that's it. And that's it for the 5-minute poses. Or the 1-minute poses. 5 1-minute poses. All right, next is going to be 2-minute poses. Better spot for this. All right, I'm gonna do these a little bit smaller in the corner here. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to start working more with actual forms, and this will be a lot closer to how I actually go about constructing the figure when I'm drawing. It's nice to practice the different methods. Because when I get into trouble, like I'll find that if a pose is really hard, it's easier for me to figure out when I break it down into the stick figure, and then especially if I'm trying to develop poses out of my imagination, using the stick figure method is really valuable. Makes things easier because you're not really committing too much when you're doing a stick figure. He's kind of got like a twist in his body here. Let's see, kind of a tilt to his head. He's holding like a staff. Okay. All right. Time's just about up. Again, his legs are a little short there, so next time I'm going to try to make them a little bit longer. So now I'm going to, instead of starting with the head, I'm going to start with the torso. Kind of work from there. And this is again another approach. I mean, when I'm drawing, I try to think of the easiest way to figure out how to draw what I'm trying to draw. So whether that's looking at the pose, thinking about, okay, what's the most important parts, and the easiest ways for me to get to it. So that's why I have all different ways of starting and developing things. And these are all different methods that I have picked up and studied from other people, you know. It's coming off the page a little bit. Let's grab him, bring him up. Make his legs longer. Get this leg out here. Give him some support. Really help balance him. And this little stick or tool or whatever he's using, his staff. Alright, that was it for that pose. Now he's sitting. And for whatever reason, seated poses and laying down poses are usually the most difficult for myself. I don't know why. Like if people are standing, easy. Maybe it's because that's what, so comfortable drawing that, because most of the time, most action poses or whatever have somebody standing, running, jumping, things that are upright. So trying to draw things where they're just kind of seated or relaxed a little bit of a challenge for myself. All right, he's got his knee out here. It's a little foreshortened. Just coming at you a little bit. His foot's back, posted on the stool. Let's see if I can draw the stool in. Give an indication of it at least. Then his other leg comes out, down. That up. Get his other hand in here, which he's got. There you go. See his this is actually a little bit different. There you go. His elbows down a little bit more. Alright, that's it for that pose. And then the last 2-minute pose. It's another seated pose. Again, he's kind of a little more relaxed in this. Like the torso. And then including the hip area. Back. His legs. The trunk of the body is, I feel, is very important. Once I have like the the chest and the hip area, and adding on the legs and stuff becomes less difficult. Because the way the torso and the hips are shifted, determines a lot of how the legs and the arms come out of the body. Or at least that's what I think. Move him up, down, just a little bit longer. That stool kind of shaping. So he's not just floating. All right. So now we have the 5-minute pose. He's just getting set up. It's going to be a standing pose. All right. So let's see what we can get done in 5 minutes. Got a little bit more time here, so laying my head a little bit better on the neck. Okay. Let's see if we can push the pose a little bit. Legs in. I'm just working my way down. So knee, this calf. And so this is probably, like I was saying before, more how I normally build the figure, especially when I'm looking at reference or whatever. I don't usually go through the stick figure process. Stick figure is usually always when I'm trying to make things up. From imagination. Shaping for his hand, the staff. Now I can already see his head is a little small, so using the magic of digital tools, I'm gonna just make it a little bit larger. There you go. That's a little better. I mean, because in general, the proportions I like to use is the eight heads high, and for those of you watching that don't know what that is, that just means you're using the head as a form of measurement for the figure. So it would be the total size of the head. There should be roughly about 8 heads going, 8 heads tall, you know. The size of the head should be 8 heads, or the size of the body is the size if you were to take 8 heads and just, so that's 4, 2, you see what I mean? And that's just like kind of a general, like kind of rule of thumb for the size of the body. I mean, there's and I got that from Andrew Loomis. Oh man, my dog is snoring real loud. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't get super far, but sorry, I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna pause the video, and I'm going to work on it a little bit more. Just to kind of get a little extra practice in. And you know, like when I'm doing these poses, I'm not so concerned about making it like photorealistic and having like perfect like shading and lighting and trying to match the actual reference, because I mean, like, that's just not what my goal is art wise, in that aspect. I'm more concerned with the just the body and the figure, and the anatomy and everything. And even with the anatomy, I'm not worried about having it be like absolutely academically perfect, you know. I want to gain like a working knowledge of anatomy that that looks good, and it reads like real anatomy, like I know what I'm doing, but you know, it's not exactly perfect, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get across the point that this is an arm or this is a leg, and there are muscles and bones inside this extremity, you know. And even like with like feet and hands, you know, a lot of the stuff I do is just like little indications. You know, I may not draw all the fingers, but I put enough there for your mind to help finish the thought, you know. And sometimes that's a little bit that's visually interesting, I think, you know, when you put in just enough information for the viewer to work a little bit, you know. Like say like this hand here I'm drawing, you know, it's not, I don't have all the knuckles and everything in here. I just have like a little indication of the shape, you know, just enough for you to know, like, okay, that's a hand, and it looks like it's posted up on the guy's hip, you know. So now all I'm doing is I'm just going in and kind of refining my shapes and adding little bits and pieces of the anatomy that I know, and that's all working off of the knowledge and previous studies that I've had, because I'm constantly at least once a day I'll sit down and I'll practice like some form of anatomy. Like maybe I'll work on like the arm one day or the hand one day, and then it's a slow process. When I first started, I thought all right, today I'm gonna learn how to draw legs. I'm gonna learn all the parts of the leg, and I would practice it. I would memorize stuff. And hey, Ad World, how you doing? Thank you for letting me know you can see and hear me. I would think that okay, I would just have to practice that thing for that one day, and then I'd have it forever. And that's very much not the case, at least not for me. I still have to go back and practice things, and each time I practice something, I get a little bit better at it. I start remembering it a little bit more. It becomes a little more natural. So yeah, it's this art is very much a marathon and not a sprint. It's all about the distance. So now, even for the face, I'm just little indications. I may use more shadow and rely on that. So I'm not drawing like a full nose. I'm just giving you just enough information to know that there's something there. In the figure drawing sessions, like this, or when I'm practicing figure drawing, I'm more concerned with the figure, not a the actual head or whatever. If I draw a good head, it looks good, fine. If I don't, then that's fine too. AdWorld says he's fine. I'm glad. Yeah, I usually start around about 6:30 on Sundays, and that's Central Standard Time, because I'm here in the United States. I think I'm going to try to get better about actually posting ahead of time, and I'll put like a notice out. I'm still working out like my schedule and how I do things. So it'll get better. I've been streaming for the last couple of nights on Instagram Live also. Last night I was drawing Ken from Street Fighter. So do you follow me on Instagram, AdWorld? This hand's a little small, so now I'm going to work on this hand over here. Just give a better indication of the shape, so it's like more of like a kind of like a pyramid, like a flat pyramid shape for like the overall shape of the hand. And then I'll just start cutting into that shape with the actual fingers. Hi, Casey. Is it Casey or Cassie? Hopefully I got that right. What is this? This is a figure drawing stream. I'm just studying, and I'm just practicing figure drawing and chatting with you guys. So if you have any questions or whatever about what I'm doing, please. All right, awesome, Ad World. Yeah, you can catch me. I'm trying to do at least a stream or a live on Instagram every other day at the minimum. But it'll usually be in the evening. And I just go for about an hour, 45 minutes, and just talk and draw stuff. So that's it for this figure. So, and then earlier I was talking about like proportions and height of the figure. So that's what this stuff is over here. That's how I measure the figure with using the head as a form of measurement. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of anatomy study out of my Morpho book, and this is called Morpho. I'll write that down. Morpho, and it's simplified. Yeah, so the drawing I was just doing was referenced from it's called the Croquis Cafe. And what they do is they have a simulated like figure drawing session that they put out videos, and it's basically timed poses. So they have like 5 1-minute poses, 4 2-minute poses, and then 1 5-minute pose, which is the figure that you're looking at right here. They're on Vimeo. They have a bunch of free videos there. I want to say they have a couple. They have over 100 of those figure drawing videos on their Vimeo channel, and they're free, to watch. Yeah, it's a good resource, especially if like right now it's hard to. You can't really go to like a figure drawing like class or session. It's a good way to practice. Even when the world wasn't the way it is right now, depending on where you live, there may or may not be a place where they do figure drawing sessions. At least that's the truth for myself. So this is the book that I am going to do some studies out of now, and I like this book because it basically breaks down the body into different shapes and forms, And what I'll do, let me see if I can. I have another camera. Maybe I can see if I can set it up. I don't really have it available right now, but anyway, I'm gonna do some studies out of this and just try to build up my knowledge some more. And that's what I'm constantly doing. The only way to get better is to keep practicing and practicing. You know, and it's like I said, it's like a marathon and not a sprint. So guess what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna work on maybe the legs. I'm gonna go to the leg section. And this book, he has a bunch of different ones. This is kind of broken down from his larger book that I have, and you can get these all on Amazon. And the larger book kind of covers like everything. So like the muscles from head to toe. So, all right. So I'll just start with, and the reason why I like the simplified forms book is because this is probably closer to the way I like to build the figure. And so I'm probably going to go for about another 10-20 minutes here, guys. So again, if you guys have any questions, please shoot them in the chat. Even if it's just, if you have any questions on how to draw something, I'm more than happy to try to explain it to you. Because anytime whenever I try to explain something, it forces me to kind of think about it a little bit better, and helps me understand it. Also, it's helpful to me. So what are some things that you guys like to use to study with? Are there any, do you have a favorite artist that you like to use? Or a favorite book, YouTube channel, something like that? So that's how I learn. I learn by watching others. And that's why I wanted to start making YouTube videos and doing Instagram lives and stuff, just to kind of help people who are at different stages in their journey as an artist. You know, I'm constantly learning from great artists out there, and that are way more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. So I wanted to, kind of pass on the little bit of knowledge that I do know. So with these like simplified forms, he's not going over in the book here. He's not like going really in depth into like all the muscles. It's just more the overall shape of what's going on. Okay, so AdWorld says he recently found an interesting artist and is in Chrome. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. what kind of art does he do? Is it like comic art? Is it fine art? And what are some things that you like about him? Do you like the way his style, or is he more like a painter, or there's all kinds of questions I could ask about him, I guess. See, I find the simplified form so useful, because once you have the overall shape of like your legs and your body parts, then adding like the details like the muscles and the shading becomes so much easier. Or at least that's what I find. So that's why I concentrate a lot on working on trying to remember what these forms look like. And all the studying that I do is just to help me out when it comes time to draw things that I'm working on, because then I can doing these studies helps me be able to problem solve when I'm actually doing my own drawings. So I find a lot of drawing and art, at least for me, is just troubleshooting. Like how do I draw this? How do I try to communicate on this 2D surface, like the three-dimensional shape of an object, So, and that all starts with learning like the basics and the basic shapes of things, and trying to break things down into their simplest forms. Yeah, I drew a short story for during the Christmas break. It was just something I came up with. I actually drew that in about a week, and I came up with the little like premise and everything and colored it. It was a lot of work, but it was really fun experience. I do want to do more. I just need to come up with more stories. So, yeah, I do have I have a short story that I drew for a comic book anthology from an indie publisher. The publisher is Guerrilla Publishing, and it was called The Cryptic Closet. And I did about 5-page story in there. So if you want to see more stuff. So next question was, do you ever do 2 to 5 minute sketches? Yes, that's what I was doing earlier in the stream when I was doing the time poses. The pose right here that you see, that one is a 5-minute pose. A little bit longer than 5 minutes. Am I interested in learning how to do proportions right? Yes. So you definitely want to study, the right way before you can start doing exaggerated poses, and you got to know the rules before you can kind of break them. So in general, I do know, how long, the torso should be or arm should be. But when it comes down to like when I'm actually like drawing things, I don't let, you know, that like stop me from making things look interesting or cool. So at the end of the day, I'm more concerned with making things look look good. So if I'm drawing like an arm or whatever, I'm not worried about, okay, this is one head, this is two heads, you know. I'm more concerned, does this look like an arm? Does this read like an arm? You know, then is this like the perfect proportions? Because, you know, most people, they're going to be forgiving of that as long as it looks cool, you know. If you don't get the proportions exactly right, but the more you practice the standard proportions or whatever, the easier they'll just come out naturally when you draw. You know, like earlier in the stream today, when I was doing my stick figures, when I was laying out the figure, I could already see that I was coming up way short on the legs. You know, as you practice more, your eye is going to get better. Like, you're going to be able to spot the mistakes that you may not have seen when you first start drawing and practicing. But yeah, a good book for like proportions and stuff is Andrew Loomis's book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. It's like a pretty thorough breakdown. The book is really easy to get. It's basically free because it was printed so long ago. It's, you know, they have PDFs out there that are not royalty free. What I would say, they're in the public domain. So I would get that. And the book's what was it? Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. And that's Andrew Loomis. And he's got a book on heads and hands too. Excellent resource. But anyway, when, you know, another thing when it comes to like proportions and stuff, and I think I was talking about this last week with Ad World, was that, you know, you can have you know, characters with really weird proportions and it look good. It's more, you know, that, you know, like the basic like shapes of the body. If you have those basic like shapes of the arm and the torso and the legs, you know, like this will read as a body, you know, because it is it's exaggerated, and this would be more like animation or character design, like in a video game or whatever. I mean, you can play with all of these proportions. So you can make like like this guy feels like he's really blocky. You know, he's like almost like a square. He's very like stout or strong. This would be like a Hulk character or whatever, or so like a strong man. And then you can do something maybe like more of you know, like that, something more elongated. So And this would be like more of a tall man, or like a skeleton man. You know, the proportions aren't academically accurate, but you know, everything reads because you can tell this is an arm, this is his chest, you know. And it's not too bad. You know, again, like I'm more, if you know those simple forms, you can make the proportions work for you. Now there are different, you know, there are ways to make them work better than others. You know, when you, so like if you're exaggerating things, you try to vary like your shapes a little bit. And you know, like mixing in like small, medium, and large shapes or whatever. So there's tons of different ways to do it. But again, like I was saying, like I focus more on the forms, and I have practiced the proportions before too. So AdWorld says, "Yes, you look at this." Yeah, thanks, Ad. But yeah, you know, again, I will constantly, I'll go back and I will study the proportions all the time. You know, knowing knowing how to do things from and learning them from different people is very important. So I always start with the academic stuff first. So that means like, you know, like fine art, like realism, like real things. Study that first, and then once you have a good understanding of that, then you can go and start doing your exaggerated forms and things like that. It makes it easier because you know the rules, and you'll know what you can get away when it comes with and how to break them. There's also there's a really good book on these like forms, and I guess it would be the rhythms of the body, and that is these books are called Force, and I think the guy's name is Mike Matezi is the author. Can't think of his how to spell it. Mike Matezi. I can't remember exactly how to spell his name. But I found that book really useful when it came to figure construction also. He talks a lot about the different rhythms of the body and how the different body parts flow into one another. So that really helps. So that's like the thought there is, okay, so you see this, the leg goes this way, it hits the knee, and then it bounces your eye back to over here, and then the calf, brings it down that way. So it's a way to help lead your eye through the form and or the figure. So like the chest, it's straight here, but it's curved out here, and it pulls you into the hips. The hips start to curve, brings you into the legs. The leg brings you into the knee. The knee brings you down to the foot, and then out. It's a way to keep your eye moving through the figure, because if you were to draw like he talks a lot about not drawing things like the Michelin Man, or where you have a lot of like, so say this was like the hand or whatever, or an arm, right? If you were to draw your muscles like this, so this is the shoulder, like every time your eye goes down, it stops, because it's not flowing and stuff. Like if you were to do something like this, like that's a little bit more appealing, because your eye comes in, it comes over here, sends it to this side sends it to that side, and just kind of brings it down, and it's just like a more natural shape for like an arm, and a quick way to get it too. So you'll see me do that a lot. I learned this one, that basic arm shape from Sycra, who's a YouTuber. But yeah, so I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks again, Ad World. It's nice to see you again this week. And I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me, especially the questions. You too, Casey or Cassie. I appreciate the questions and everything. So if you like what I'm doing, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And you follow me on Instagram at Othell1. I'm always posting different things. I try to do a drawing once a day of some fan art character or whatever's on my mind. And sometimes I'll post like studies and whatever. But anyway, take care, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you.